we are. Hey everybody, this is Austin and Matt with the Weekly Talkthrough here from the Daily Walkthrough. This week we're going to do something a little bit different. Already it started.
What is wrong with you?
It's already started. We're going to go on anyway.
Oh, we're going to go? Okay.
We're going to keep going anyway. We're going to power through it. We're going to do something a little bit different this week. We are going to do a little bit of an E3 post show. We're going to give our opinions on a couple of the superlatives of E3. Are you ready to start, Austin? We ready to go?
Yeah, we're good to go.
So we haven't seen each other's answers. We picked these independently of each other, so we should have a nice little discourse, a nice little discussion to talk about. So let's get started. The first category, we're going to start with the biggest, obviously. The best in show, the game that was shown that blew us away, the game we think is the best to come out of this year's E3. Austin, what is your choice?
Alright, so I think this is pretty obvious from my biased point of view, but I'm going to have to say Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Okay. All right, that's a good choice. Here, I'll say mine and then we can discuss a little. My best in show was The Last of Us 2.
That's a great moment.
The Last of Us 2. So, okay, let's talk a little bit. Why do you think Smash Ultimate was the best game at E3 this year?
I mean, like, personally for me, like, you know, I've been a huge Smash fan, been playing, like, pretty much every game of Smash. And, you know, like, so back a couple months ago, I believe, you know, Nintendo teased us with a new Smash Bros. And that they're going to announce, you know, like, all the details coming up at this E3, you know, so, like, everyone's been, like, anticipating it. And then they finally released it, like, information, like, such as, like, every character is going to be in the game.
Everybody's here.
Yeah. And they're going to release it this year, which is a big surprise considering that typically Smash Bros. Games are announced, like, a couple years in advance. Like, you know, like, they'll announce a game and then it'll take them a couple years to come out. But, like, this one is coming out later this year, which is pretty crazy.
So the hype, in addition to the actual product, in addition to just sort of like the closeness of it, all got there for you?
Just like the massive amount of content that we're going to be getting from this game is pretty crazy.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm a huge Smash fan too. So, I mean, Smash was like top 3 for me. It was right there. But let's talk a little bit about The Last of Us 2. Because holy wow, was that trailer.
That was incredible.
Just incredible. The presentation was a little shaky with the whole Sony press conference was a little shaky, just in pacing and the sort of weird way they did it this year. But man, once they started playing that trailer, you just disappeared into that world, man. That was, oh god, it was so beautiful. The gameplay looks incredible. It looks like Last of Us 1 just plus. It looks like they improved everything. The graphics look gorgeous. Oh, it just blew me away.
I mean, the animation was just so fluid. Like,
it really was.
Like, it didn't even seem like actual gameplay. It just seemed more like a trailer. We're actually still not sure if we can actually do that kind of stuff in the game, but that would be pretty incredible.
Yeah, it was tough. As I was watching that, I remember my jaw was just dropped. I was just staring at my screen in disbelief that this is a video game because it looked incredible.
And like, besides like the animation, like just the whole atmosphere of that trailer was just so like tense. Like, I was actually terrified for her. Like, jeez.
So those are our best in show games from this year at E3. We can move on to our next superlative, which is the best moment. What's the best moment from E3? Not necessarily a game, but just sort of during the conferences or as a whole, if you were watching any of the presentations or like the Nintendo Treehouses after or anything. What was the best moment from E3?
So, we already talked about this as spoiler alert. My best moment was the reveal of The Last of Us trailer.
Oh, okay. So you liked Mr. Banjo guy, huh? Yeah. Okay, so you're a big fan of Banjo guy.
I mean, besides him, we're not going to really talk about it.
All right, well,
just the unveiling of that trailer was just...
So sort of at the conference itself, how they were in that like barn, they set up the whole like, the people who were watching were in like where they were in the game.
Yeah.
That was neat. It was definitely neat. I just wish it didn't have such an impact on like the rest of the conference because then they had to like move everybody around and whatever. But that's just me.
So Matt, what is your best moment?
My best moment was when Bethesda revealed the game we've all been waiting for, which was Skyrim for Alexa.
No.
Eat
good.
all of the wheels of cheese, all of you. Enjoy it, please. What an amazing moment, though, honestly. It was just, it was so great. I was laughing so hard. And I love that Todd Howard and Bethesda are just so smart at marketing, and they just played into this whole, they're just re-releasing Skyrim on everything. It was great. It was brilliant. And of course, maybe the best part of it is it's real. You can play Skyrim on Alexa. I mean, obviously not play Skyrim on Alexa, but the thing is real. If you have a Fire device or an Echo device, excuse me, you can do that.
That's pretty incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, that was by far my best moment of E3. It was great. I was quite literally laughing out loud. I was chortling. It was great. Okay, so here's my personal favorite superlative that we've come up with among these E3 awards. We are giving out an award for biggest blue balls, or in other words, what game where we really weren't shown anything about the game at all, but we know we want it, but we also know we're waiting a really long time for it.
No release date.
So, what is your biggest blue balls, Austin?
So initially I had another game in mind, which might be your game of choice, but the game I chose was Halo.
Oh, okay, that's a good one. Halo.
We weren't really shown anything. We were just shown a trailer. We were showing Master Chief in like the classic armor.
Yeah.
But that was it.
That was interesting because that trailer was like what, a minute and a half, 2 minutes?
Very short. Yeah.
And it was like, for the first 45 seconds to a minute of it, I had no idea it was a Halo game.
Yeah, same.
It was just like, they were in like an alien world, they were showing animals, and I was like, oh, weird, I wonder what this is. And then the last shot of it is like, or not the last shot of it, but they revealed Master Chief in the helmet. I'm like, oh, this is Halo?
Yeah.
This looks weird. But yeah, they didn't show any gameplay of anything. They didn't
like no story. Like no,
no,
we have
they
no
didn't.
idea. What's
They
happening.
essentially said nothing, but at the same time built the hype and said everything.
I mean, the only thing we know is just that it's taking place after Halo 5.
And its name is Halo Infinite. Mm-hmm. So that is the definition of the Blue Balls Award. That's an excellent choice. But of course, mine, and I feel like many of our viewers at home, our biggest Blue Balls Award goes to The Elder Scrolls 6, which was quite literally about 15 seconds of a nice little majestic landscape and then the words Elder Scrolls 6 and absolutely nothing else. Thank you, Bethesda. I'm going to be feeling that pain for the next 5 years while you develop this game that we won't see until forever. Thank you.
I mean, we're just like all the fans are just going to spend the next couple of years overanalyzing that one.
The funny thing is, I bet we don't even see that game at E3 again for at least like 3 years because they won't even have a trailer of that game ready for at least like 3 years.
Yeah, because it's just in pre-production. Like, I think
the game before it, Starfield, which was also announced and pretty much had nothing said about it. That could have been a good Blue Balls Award winner too. Yeah. That game is in pre-production, and that game comes before The Elder Scrolls 6.
It's just going to be a very, very long time before we see The Elder Scrolls 6.
It will be a very long time, and we will all have just the biggest, bluest of balls until then.
I think it's just better to just forget that game exists.
Until it's ready.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just going to forget that they even did it. Yeah.
It's like what I do for Game of Thrones, just forget that it exists so that like the wait isn't as painful.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Our next award for the biggest disappointment. What were we disappointed in? Either wasn't at E3, a game we thought would be at E3 but wasn't, or maybe a game that's trailer was just super underwhelming and that had a hype behind it, or anything like that. So Austin, what was your biggest disappointment of E3?
So I had a couple choices, but I would say, I guess one of my biggest ones is Gears Pop.
Okay.
And I know it's a weird choice, but hear me out.
Okay.
Because it's been a very long time since Gears 4 came out.
Uh-huh.
And, fans, were just anticipating that game for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And they finally see this trailer, they see the logo on the screen. And all of a sudden these figures, pop out.
That might have been the biggest troll in E3 history, where they were like,
just so much disappointed.
We're doing Gears Pop Funko. And then all the fans are like, no.
Are you kidding?
If I was in the audience, I would have started booing. Mm-hmm. And then they were like, but we're also doing another Gears game. And everybody was like, and they were like, Gears Tactics. And you're like, oh, no. And then they were like, oh, but wait, there's one more. And you were like, and then they finally were like, Gears 5. And you were like, oh, thank God. All right. And now it is time for my biggest disappointment of E3, which was I had two a little bit. I had one that's a little bit of a meme, and then one that's the real answer.
Oh god, I have a feeling I know what this one's gonna be.
So no Waluigi in Smash breaks my heart. Tears run down my cheeks.
Steve, you're one of those people.
Where?
Like I don't even know.
Please.
Like I don't even know if people actually care about it or they're just going along with it because of the meme.
Both.
But like,
yeah, but on a more serious note, my biggest disappointment of E3 has to be the lack of the Avengers game that is rumored to be in development by Square Enix. That just didn't show up anywhere. People thought we'd see it at the Square Enix conference, and then when we didn't see it at the Square Enix conference, people were like, well, I guess they're saving it for the PlayStation conference.
nope.
Big fat no on that one. So where is this game?
Where is my super suit?
It was supposed to be a pretty big name at the conference this year, and it didn't show up. It was a ghost.
Maybe they're just not ready with stuff, you know.
I guess maybe. I
didn't meet the
just give me
deadline.
something. I want to know. Like I crave the old days of the old Marvel Alliance games where you could just like the 4-player couch co-op and you're all working together and it's like a beat 'em up game. You can do cool ass Avengers superhero combos. Or if it's not that, and it's a one-player narrative-driven Avengers story where you just switch off playing all the different heroes, that's fine too. Just tell me, please, because I want to know about it.
Yeah, we just don't know anymore.
Please? Thank you. Not thank you. You didn't. Okay.
Wow.
So.
Wow, rude.
How rude.
Feel so entitled. Like, give me something.
Yes, all us entitled gamers. Okay, well. So those are our biggest disappointments of E3. We can now move on to our last superlative category, which was our biggest surprise. What was the biggest surprise of E3? Maybe a game that no one saw coming, that sort of surprised everybody, or a game that was just like, maybe it either was super good when it was supposed to be bad, or vice versa, or whatever it was. So what was your biggest surprise?
Well, my biggest surprise was certainly a positive one, and I would say it's Cyberpunk 2077.
Cyberpunk 2077. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I agree.
Because like nobody expected it coming because it's not like it's a sequel of any game. Like it's actually based on a tabletop RPG. So
Right.
like nobody would have any clue that it would be the next big game that's coming.
Yeah, Cyberpunk 2077 is an interesting choice because CD Projekt Red, after The Witcher and stuff, and after all the content they've been making for The Witcher, it's been rumored for a long time that they've been working on a new game and that it was like a science fiction type game, and I'm not 100% sure people expected it at this E3 to hear
Like
what
a
it
full
was,
trailer, yeah.
right, and to get as much from it as we did. But it's super duper cool that we now know what CD Projekt Red is working on for their next game, and people not only did we get a trailer during the actual the conferences, this game was playable at E3 behind closed doors by press. So. And I don't think I've ever seen so many people on Twitter, game journalists, coming out and saying, that game was incredible.
Like so much
That game
positivity
was-
surrounding the game.
That game, without showing any public gameplay, won an incredible amount of Game of the Year awards. For
From multiple
E3.
sites, yeah.
For Best in Show awards from multiple sites. I know Kinda Funny Games gave it Best in Show. I think IGN gave it Best in Show.
I think they did. Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff going on there. I'm really looking forward to, I guess, next E3 when they'll probably show some public gameplay, and I will finally get to see what the hell is up.
I mean, hopefully before the next E3. Like considering how
Maybe,
much they
but
already
probably
have.
not.
I'm just crossing my fingers. Like I want to see some actual gameplay. Like if it's gonna be something like GTA type gameplay, or if it's gonna be something.
Well,
else.
no, because the rumors it's all first person, which is
first
weird.
person,
Which
wow.
is weird for them because they were because Witcher is obviously a third person game, so they're sort of changing directions. And I suppose there's a lot of reasons that it has to be first person according to them. I don't know them, but we can now move on. My biggest surprise of E3 was
My
a game.
biggest surprise.
Me. Was a game that sort of came out of left field for a lot of people and shocked a whole lot of people, which is Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh, yeah,
At the
you're right.
Sony conference.
That just
which
came out of
was,
nowhere.
Gorgeous. It was so beautiful. I want to frolic in that grass. put me in the game. I just want to know what physics engine that is, so I can just like render grass and look at it. It was so pretty. Not to mention, like, you know, the actual gameplay. It essentially looks like feudal China Assassin's Creed to a certain extent, except with a little bit more complicated actual battle mechanics, which is something people have been essentially asking for forever anyway. It's so cool, dude. Like, it looks so cool. It was interesting too because PlayStation, you know, their strategy coming into the conference, what they had sort of announced before the conference was, we're going to focus on sort of our big 4 or 5 big marquee games, which everybody sort of knew in the back of their heads. They had like a list of like what these games are.
Like Last of Us,
Spider-Man, and Death Stranding, and then like 1 or 2 other ones, maybe the Final Fantasy VII remake, which we also didn't see, or the Avengers game, which sad face we didn't see. But like a bunch of people had this list in the back of their head that were like, yeah, okay, so we know what these big games are going to be. So I mean, no real surprises then from Sony. Meanwhile, they had, I would argue, this and maybe the Resident Evil 2 remake were 2 of the biggest surprises of the entire E3.
And probably Devil May Cry.
Well, that was from the Xbox one, but yes. This game looked awesome. They gave it a whole lot of time, which means they, you know, like they're going to put a lot of hype into it. They're going to put a lot of marketing behind it. That game just looked sick. So good on you, Ghost of Tsushima. I almost said it wrong. But hey, those are our awards for E3. This is the Weekly Talkthrough from the Daily Walkthrough with Austin and Matt. We'll see you guys next week.